del forum nessuno. Quando eravate in tutto?
Ormai non hanno più.
Ladies and gentlemen, now with a microphone, welcome again to this evening here to our Roman Nights, and I would like to ask Father Walter Insero from the Diocese of Rome to give us a short introduction to the evening today. Please, Father.
Buonasera a tutti, sono felice di essere qui con voi, grazie per l'invito, grazie Andreas, grazie Pilar, grazie a tutti gli amici di WTN, grazie ai relatori che tra poco affronteranno questa tematica della famiglia. Tra una settimana a quest'ora avremo terminato il festival di apertura di questo 10° incontro mondiale delle famiglie, quindi sentiamo l'adrenalina, l'entusiasmo e l'attesa per questo evento che sta per iniziare, quindi avremo l'opportunità di vivere questo incontro mondiale che sarà per la prima volta un incontro multicentrico e diffuso, perché avrà luogo a Roma come sede principale, dove verranno i delegati delle conferenze episcopali di tutto il mondo, e poi nelle diocesi ci sarà la possibilità che il vescovo nelle chiese particolari potrà celebrare, incontrare le famiglie, condividere con loro in comunione con quanto avviene a Roma, ma si realizzerà anche sul territorio. Quindi vogliamo non tanto fare discorsi teorici sulla famiglia, ma vogliamo lasciare spazio alle famiglie perché si raccontino, perché nell'incontro possano scambiarsi esperienze, possano condividere il dono della fede. L'incontro qui, presso la tomba dell'Apostolo Pietro e con il successore di Pietro, sarà chiedere al Santo Padre di confermare tutti noi e le famiglie che verranno nella fede. Questo è l'intento principale. Come sapete, non è una kermesse delle famiglie, è un evento spirituale, quindi con un festival dove verranno affrontati i temi che saranno sviluppati poi nel congresso teologico pastorale. Il culmine sarà la Santa Messa del 25 pomeriggio in piazza San Pietro, con molte famiglie di Roma, con i delegati e tutti coloro che si uniranno a noi nella preghiera, e poi con la conclusione l'Angelus del 26. Quindi sono davvero contento che iniziamo questa sera a sentire già la gioia di avvicinarci a questo grande evento. Grazie a tutti.
Grazie. Thank you very much. Thank you for this brief introduction to the World Meeting of Families, and I also welcome you all here to this new edition of Roman Nights. The format Roman Nights we've been doing here in the EWTN Vatican Bureau now for several occasions already, to bring together people of different backgrounds using this marvelous city as well as a background to bring together people who are from the diplomatic life, people who are from the business life, religious people, and also NGO leaders, thought leaders, who all come together here in Rome to discuss certain topics. We've had many different topics, but today we chose, also in anticipation already of next week's big event, the World Meeting of Families, as Don Insero has already introduced here, we chose the topic of family life. Family here, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you our esteemed panel as well. I have here with me up on the panel Virginia Coranoniziante, and I'm sorry if I'm mixing Italian with English expressions. You see, we're trying to gap here a little bit, different cultures as well and different languages. I also understood that we could do everything today in German, as every speaker here is speaking German, including myself. Aber wir haben uns entschieden, das dann doch nicht zu tun. Don't worry, we will stay in English. But just to mention this as well, you're the initiator and longtime organizer of the Italian March for Life, and you've been an advocate for the right to life here in Italy for many decades. Virginia Code Annunziante is also the president of the Associazione of Famiglia Domani, founded in 1987 here in Italy, and she's head of the International Relations Office of the National Research Council in Italy. She's a graduate of the Sapienza University here in Rome in history and literature, and I understand even German literature. Please, a warm welcome and a warm applause for Virginia Coranunziante. Thank you for being with us. Next to you is Father Giovanni Biallo, and you're a priest. He's a priest of the Diocese of Rome and a member of the organizational committee also for the World Meeting of Families, and very much involved with the organizing of this big event next week. He has studied Eastern Christianity, and for years he has been bringing pilgrims to holy places, especially to the Holy Land. And I just understand also in the last weeks you have been there together with families even.
Absolutely.
And maybe we'll hear a little bit about this also later. Please also warm applause for Father who is here with us. And last but not least, Vincenzo Bassi. He's a lawyer, and he is now the president of the Federation of Catholic Family Associations in Europe. Short, it's called FAFCE, at least in German. I think in Italian the abbreviation works as well.
Yes.
And FAFCE ensures a political representation of families within the European Union and the Council of Europe. Vincenzo Bassi is also a professor at LUMSA University and is a board member of the Union of Catholic Lawyers. Welcome as well. My name is Andreas Tonhauser. I'm the EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief, and it is a great pleasure for having this event, this Roman Nights, for the first time actually on top of our office here in the Via Conciliazione. Welcome to our terrace, and thank you also for our wonderful team who prepared it like this for us today. And I understood that there will be no rain whatsoever, so we can enjoy a nice spring evening here in the center of Rome. But let me sit down with all of you, and maybe I can start also asking you, you've been an advocate for the right to life for many years. In your opinion, what role does family play when it comes to the value of life?
Well, the family, of course, is extremely important because children learn the importance of family living in families. So without a family, it's impossible that you have this concept of defending life also. And I've always seen this also in organizing the March for Life, because mainly the participants are all families with many children. So I think that this is something, the idea of life itself, because it comes from a man and a woman, is something really deep and rooted in the concept of family. So I think that it's really at the core of our defense of life is the defense of family.
Father, if we come maybe a little bit more to the spiritual dimension also, yes, of the family, what role, in your opinion, and especially if we look also onto next week, the World Meeting of Families, what role does the family play also when it comes to faith and to raising basically the next generation?
Yes, that is a good question, naturally, because it's so important. The transmission of the faith in the midst of the families. And in this time we can see around us that it's not so easy involve the children in the life of the church. But we know that the family is a school of fraternity, is the place where to learn to love, and to live in peace, to help the other brothers and sisters in their needs, in their necessities. And so spiritually, the families need to discover the love of the Lord and to show the face of the love of the Lord. That means mercy, that means help, that means recognizing the others like a part of themselves.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Bassi, you have met the Holy Father just last week, I understand, on Friday. And you told me also that there were very important words from his side when it comes to the family. Maybe you can share with us a little bit what he also told you and also told to your federation?
Let me say that for me it was it was amazing. I mean, it was an incredible experience. I could expect to be able to meet the Pope, and I think that the speech of the Pope should be meditated. And now I can comment, of course, but it will last time to realize the real meaning, the consequences of his words. What I can say is very simple. He spoke about morality, he spoke about economy, he spoke about policy, even he spoke about the law. So it was amazing because he said, approached many items but joined together in the same speech. For me, as family associations, the most important thing is that he pointed out the fact that the worst sickness of this time is the loneliness. And the family networks, family associations are the care of this sickness. Even because the families is not the sick of this society, but is the care of the sickness. So if you look at during this pandemic time, after this pandemic time, we realize that families outside network families lived problems of every kind of problems. But families inside who lived within family networks, they could solve problems, spiritual, material, economical, even working problems. And even for the pastors, if they approach not every family, but a network family, it is really easier to have relations, to rely on, to deal with and rely on families. It's also easier to be able to speak about the good, to speak with the families and to do apostolate within the families. Because now our goal is to create the same quality of the relations which our grandfathers, our grandparents lived in the village. Of course, now it's not anymore possible to live in a village, but we can get the quality of those relations. And when the Pope spoke about the importance, the role of family networks, even for the Church, in this synodical time, I think that for me, as president of Catholic European Family Federations, is a very good, very strong task, and we hope to be able to take on this responsibility.
Maybe if you'll let me ask you a little bit more on that topic, because you are advocating for family, for the right also to family life at the highest levels in the European Union, in Brussels, in also at the Council of Europe in Strasbourg. In international politics, what role does family play? Is that still something where you have open doors?
Well, it's a very tricky topic, because in principle at European level they must not take care of families, because it's the competence of national jurisdiction to take care of families. But de facto, we know that they take care of families, and it's not a good thing. How could they speak about families? Because indirectly, because when they talk about equality, when they talk about the free movement of persons, because family, let me say as Italian, it's like the parcel. You find families everywhere. When you speak about banks, when you speak about, it's like the parcel. It's everywhere, and that's why, because of this, they touch, they take care also of families. But on the other side, now in Europe, as the Pope even on Friday said, there is a huge problem. This problem is the demographic winter, the very low birth rate. So now there is a unique occasion to speak indirectly, as they do, indirectly we can speak about family. The family is like, let me say, the demographic winter is like a Troy horse. The problem of the demography winter is a fact, and we have to solve this problem. In Europe now they want just to manage the demographic transition, but you don't solve problems just allowing people working until 80 years old, just because they can push one button. So you have to solve this problem, and they cannot solve the problems, as Virginia said, without families. And now they have to start speaking about families. Of course, it's not easy because they have to change vocabulary. But FAFSE has the role to let them convince that we can solve this problem. Europe can have a future, but we are available to take on this. We as feminists are available to take on this responsibility. It's just a question of responsibility. We do not speak about anything else. We speak about the function of the family, and when you speak about the function of the family, you do not need to add any objective, because we speak about responsibility and not about privilege.
Thank you very much for this. And I would like to sort of speak a little bit more about the demographic winter, but also about networks of family. Before I do that, I would like to also let the audience know that very soon, maybe someone in the audience has a question for the panel, and I would be happy if we could also ask the panel together, so this is not just a one-sided conversation. Also, there are more seats available right here in the front, so nobody has to stand back there. Please take opportunity of this as well. And my next question would be also to you. We've been speaking a little bit before also about the notion that Italy is a very family-friendly country, actually, and it's known for that. At the same time, what you also said, there's a very low birth rate here. But with organizing things that sort of circle around the notion of life, also the notion of family, do you think there is a change happening? Is there maybe in the future more openness to life, or how is the situation here locally?
Well, in Italy, of course, the situation is, as we know, is quite severe, and it's very sad on the one side, because if you think that at the beginning of the 20th century, we had an average of 5 children per woman, and now we have not even 1.3, because in 2021 it was 1.25. Children per woman. So this means that we are really a country, people who are dying. So I think that this is very sad. But this is very much linked also to family. And so if we see the situation in Italy with families, it's extremely interesting, because before we had, for example, and this is something that has to challenge also very much the church, because in the 70s, we still had quite a big fertility rate, and families that were married were always religious marriages, and only 2.3% were civil unions. This is 1970s. After the law on divorce, 1970s, after the law on abortion, 1978, already at the beginning of the 20s, we had already 36% of marriages that were civil unions. And in 2021, so last year, 72%, nearly 73% of the marriages were civil unions. So, so Italians no longer marriage in church. And so I think that this is also very much linked to the fertility rate, because of course only those who believe in God, have a faith, especially in our society, which is a difficult society, take the courage to give birth. And I have a wonderful example here with someone who had just a sixth child. And so it's a thing that you really need a great faith to have children today. So because 73% of Italian marriages are no longer Catholic marriages, this is a consequence.
The other notion is, and maybe related to this, is also having courage, also means having friends who are maybe in the same situation. We talked about networks as well, not maybe only on a political level, but really on a real life level to know other families. Father, now the Church is organizing the 10th World Meeting of Families. Is there the thought also of bringing families together and sort of also encouraging each other?
Yes, surely is one of the reasons for this meeting. Let the families meet together, speak together about the different difficulties that a family today in the different countries, in the different dioceses in the world can have. But also to find, to recognize the beauty to be family. And how is important, very important for the family and for the society, the formation that in the family is done, because formation of the children, starting from the love of the parents, that become also the love for the children, and that means the formation to be able to live together in fraternity and recognize the other as part of the same family of the society. That is a question so important. So the Church bring this question in the center of the prayer, in the center of the discussion, recognizing that the problem of the few religious matrimony and generally of the matrimonies and to have children in the matrimony is also an economic problem because the parents are afraid about the future, about what all the needs that the children should have. And so I think that the confrontation with the representatives of the world will be very important, a good occasion.
How do you see also, I think we agree that it's not always easy, especially in modern times, to have a family. I'm not even talking about big families, but just, to have a child or two. And we know how many divorces there are. We know how many families who are in big trouble. What can the Church offer to families?
Yes, so the formation to become family is something that we will have in a stronger way. That is very important. But naturally is also a question of faith, because we are speaking about love. Love is a question so connected with the Lord, with our faith, with the spirituality. And that means that grow up in the faith means also that in the family there will be more openness, more patience, more attention each other, parents in relation with the children. So we need a work made together inside the spiritual formation of the parents, of the father and mother, of the spouse, and inside the family in the relations with the children.
So faith and the family, you even taking families on pilgrimages?
Yes, many families. I have many examples of families that is something really touched, because I see families coming in pilgrimage all together in Holy Land, especially, you know, that they do pilgrimage, how to say, the most important, to recognize the real face of the Lord. And I heard many times parents telling, I had a so wonderful experience in pilgrimage in Holy Land. I want to bring my children because the most important thing that I can give them is the relationship, the connection with the Lord, with the love of the Lord.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Are there any questions from the audience already?
Mi piace giocare facile, il center rasante è facile.
Please. One second, there is a microphone coming your way.
Just a second.
It's not really a question, but what I'm very sad about is that in last years, one of the biggest problems for families, I think, is that the society is thinking that the mother has to go to work outside of home. And all the estimation she is getting is if she's working, and also she wants to, that she doesn't lose the job afterwards. And so what I think the most important thing is that the mother will stay at home at least for the first 2-3 years. And I think that would be a very big point to focus on of Europe, because I heard that you are the lawyer of Brussels connections, and also for the church and I'm a very engaged walking person for the March of Lives also in Austria, or I think we have to do that on the street, but we also have to give a changing in the media, in the society itself on this point especially. There are many points, but it's one of the most important, I think.
Thank you. So whoever wants to comment on this as well, the role maybe also of the mother, role of motherhood.
Well, yes, I think it's an excellent point, and the fact of having families that also quite often also split, it's because of the woman's role. So I think if we don't go back to the role of women in society, which should be at the core of the family, it will be difficult, in effect, to change things. And also because we know that family is the pillar of society. This is also in ancient Greece. It was already said, Aristotle, Plato already spoke about this. So we know this is not something only from a Catholic point of view. So I think that we Catholics, we should give an extra importance to families because we have also the faith. But nevertheless, family is really important for everybody. So the fact that our politicians don't understand this, quite often I think that there is an ideology behind that. And last thing that I say is that I remember very well to have followed in a private, a closed-door meeting with the German Minister of Education, of Culture and Education, during the Merkel government. She said, and I was quite impressed by that, she said, we don't want families, we want individuals. So, and so this is the reason why, for example, she was saying about immigration, right? So they don't want families because the individual is much more easy to govern, as you were saying before, because family is helping the others. And so they don't want this. They want to take over completely ourselves. And so I think this is really a strategy. And so the fact of bringing back women within the family will help very much. Yes.
Other comments?
Well, the family working balance is one of the European issue, and there are directives and so on. So it's very important also for FAFSE to follow, and we actually do that. What I can say that it's a question of freedom, and everybody can choose. But what we can do as a communities of families, is also to let everybody understand the real role of the women within the family. Because now the point is, it seems that you do not have any role within the family, because the family is not regarded as a private institution with public relevance. It's just a private institution. And this is one point. Another very strong point, it has been also touched by the Pope on Friday. We have to say that no law, no legal system must impose a social model, okay? It's up to us to choose how we want to manage our families. For example, on the tax point of view, at European level, but even in Italy now, they don't like and they disapprove every family tax system based on the communion of the goods made by the members of family, because it's a way to disincentive the work for both for every member of the family. In particular, now we are talking about the women. So there is a tendency from the European level not to let everybody free, because they speak about freedom, but they do not award any generosity within the family, and they want just this productivity model, and we do not realize it, but this is the point. For example, now in Italy, the families are living a very unjust tax system, because they don't want that they don't want to put the income of families together and considering the responsibilities of the families. But it comes from a social model. On the other side, we believe that you are free to choose, and they always speak about the free of choice. But when it's up to you to choose, they don't accept your choice.
Thank you. Father?
Yes, I'm thinking, and I have many examples of good families when father and mother work. And I saw many times that it is not true that only if, for example, mother remain more at home, the family is go better. Because I don't think that it's how much time you are at home, but the quality of the time that you give to your family. That is a question that I see, so it is in the reality. Surely in Italy, but I don't think not only in Italy, family needs an economic help. So because it's family, because there are children, because children means the future of a community, of a society. So also the politics, the economy, they have to care families in a absolutely special way. Should be the first help to give to a society, to a country.
Are there more questions from the audience? If you raise your hand, then I can. Yes?
So I have a quick question.
Hold on, there's a microphone coming your way.
Thank you. So I have a quick question for each of the panelists, and Andreas, you included, is so the World Meeting of Families is just right around the corner. For Andreas, for you, as a head of family, as a father of several children, what would a good World Meeting of Families look like to you? What do you hope your children get? And for each of the other panelists within your respective fields, what would that look like? What do we hope to get from this incredible event that's just around the corner? Thank you.
Thank you. I have to answer that question. See, it pays if you have journalists in your team who are used to asking questions all the time. My wife is here as well with our youngest child, which was born here in Rome, so probably would have to ask her what a perfect World Meeting of Families would look like. Certainly there would be some kind of kids program that they can attend to and benefit from it. No, but for me personally, I think what has been said here in the panel already, for families, it's so important to share this experience also with other families, especially if you are a person of faith. It's not something so easy in our society to live that way. It's kind of strange already, right? And it's like us, if you have more children. Here in Italy, we feel that people are, still starting to count in the bus how many children you have, and there's a friendly welcome. In Austria, where we're originally from, it's not that friendly anymore. I think even the Holy Father had to say that children are never an ecological problem. And I mean, even the notion, and I welcome that very much that he did so, but even that you have to say this, right? To live in a society where people do consider children as a problem for the environment is a very telling thing. And so to have, to come together also here in Rome with other families who are living that kind of life is very encouraging and very, very important. That's just sort of saying here also as a father, but I would like to give this question also to the panel.
Yes. I think that in the families, the parents have to find a way to live together, connecting their life with the Lord. So I think that the future is in that. Matrimony, as I told, is a question of love. So the love needs to be cared, to be helped, to grow up during the time. And when that doesn't happen, the problem with the children will be big. There is a law in our life. We love the other with the experience of love that we had. So the experience that we had to be loved by some other. And when that is not clear. So our problem for the individual people, but is a social problem. And we have many examples around us.
So, in my opinion, well, what you said is extremely important. The fact of having other families to know in other countries also, but also in your own country, and see how well the same difficulties that they have, and so to share also some in practical life. I think this gives a strength. And strength is extremely important today, especially because people feel quite lonely, because our day's life is very difficult, especially when parents have a job, and so they don't have much time, and so I think this is really something very important for getting them together. And another aspect that I think is also extremely important for this whole form of families is to let parents understand that they are the primary educators of the children. And I think that this is something in our society also that is at the ground really for a family, because we see what happens in schools today, and so to give them a clear notice that what has to be done and how they have to behave, and what is their role in as educators. So I think this is a message that should be given.
With Carla, we are going to have we will intervene as a speaker during the next World Family Day. As to me, as to us, I think that it's important also to show the church how important is the community of family. I think that next week we'll have the church as a community in Rome, and we can imagine also a future of made up with the church made up by families, with the pastors like the Pope in the middle. We'll talk with Carla about even about the importance of the elderly in the family, because we don't like at all the fact that we speak about elderly as something detached from the family. We have still to speak that the elder is the elders are part of the family, and they have a function in the family. But when I talk about the function, I think a role maybe is better, because otherwise it seems too functionalist. But they have a role, and this role it depends on the person, because we can have the grandfather who is sick, somebody who is autonomous, so it depends. But in any case, they are part of family. But the issue is, how can we can keep our elderly at home? This is a point. Because as the Pope said on Friday, we need intergenerational balance. We cannot have families without children, and even we cannot have family without elderly. And the problem is not the presence of elderly. This is a grace that we can live longer. The point is the lack of children. But in any case, how can we realize the fact that elderly will remain at home? This is a point, and I think that we have to discuss about that. And I'm sure that, sorry if I repeat myself, but we need not, we cannot leave the families alone. Because if you leave the families alone, of course it's very difficult to keep elderly at home. But through family networks, we can really have a solution even to this problem. And we have just to look around, because if you go to Rome, for example, just looking at a parish with many family networks, we can see, we can assess concretely that they are the parish that work better than others. I have an example. It was for me a surprise. There is a priest, a friend of mine. He followed during his ministry 300 families. 300 families. Yes, just 10 families divorced. So very, very low percentage. And now I ask this friend the number of children, because I'm sure that they will have more than 2 children, because as average. So we must trust, because the reality speaks. The point is to recognize it, and even, as the Pope said, to realize that we are living a change of epoch. And this change of epoch said to us that families is not, sorry, I cannot say that in English because we don't have is not a factum or a datum. We cannot consider families for granted, but is a donum. There is no word in English, and it's a donum. So we have to, having children is not, you must not be in hero. Having children is a generosity, is a generous act. So we need community to encourage, to educate, as you said, but the priest must not left alone. We need community, because the church is a community, is not the priest. So it's also up to us as lays to take on responsibility and to be at the service of the priest, to say we need communities, and now we have to testify, to be witness vis-à-vis other families, because this is it's just a contamination, as you said. The beauty of family. How can you speak about the beauty? It's difficult to speak about the beauty. It's easier to speak about something beautiful. And if you are witness, I think, and you have to show the problems of your families.
Family is beautiful, right?
Yeah, but
You show that
it's
also.
not a perfect model. You know, we are not perfect.
Yeah.
Because everybody says you have to be perfect. It's not. This is not. We cannot speak about models. We must more speak about example.
Example. Well, you know, one thing that my kids always appreciate is if we're having dinner together, family dinner, a very important function. My kids are not here, but we still have prepared food for afterwards, for us here. So let me come to an end also on this very important discussion. And maybe everybody can take a final statement. And I hope that you all have still time to remain here and continue our conversations, also with the speakers here, but amongst each others as well, over a glass of wine or some of the refreshments we prepared. But maybe as a final question for a short statement for each of you, the 10th World Meeting of Families here in Rome is under the motto Family Love, a vocation and a path to holiness. How can family be a path to holiness? If I may start with you.
I think on the one side, of course, it's the path to holiness is love. So, and it's love not only that you learn from the family, love not only for the others, but love for God. So I think this is the main path for holiness and for a family. And I would also like to stress the beauty of the document that has been issued today by the dicastery of the family, that stresses the beauty of chastity within the family. So of how parents should, before the wedding, should be prepared also to this. And I think this is also something that can help in holiness. And this document was really very inspiring I really think.
Father, we leave you the last word now, please.
Okay, but Andreas, I like that. Thank you very much. A statement for such, in order to comment your question is not easy. But I can say that the family is a vocation, is like every vocation, and the family is the only negotium, because it's not a contract. I refuse to say that marriage is a contract. It's a negotium, the only negotium stipulated for the interest of the other. So we don't get married, I think, Carla, that you agree with me, we don't get married just because of my interest. Sometimes Carla says that you are very lucky and so on. But in any case, I can promise you that I do not get married with you for my interest, for her interest. So being able to keep this engagement, make the interest of the other, is the real meaning of the love. I think it is also for your vocation. You do not decide to become a priest because of your interest. You do that for the interest of the others. And this is the real pattern to the holiness, and because it's a part of our vocation, because God's asked us to follow this pattern. But I like very much the fact that we are not a model of a perfection. We have many problems, and the family is, as a last statement, a very, very joyful responsibility.
Father?
So the question of the vocation, good question. I work in the seminary of Rome and in the pastoral of the vocation. So I think that it's so important to understand that to find the own vocation means to understand where you can love more. As a priest, as a husband, as a wife. And love means oblatio, so to be ready to leave something of you for the good of the other. When that happens, you are fall in love in some way with the Lord, with the woman with the man. So when you are ready to leave something and to make some sacrifice for the good of the other, that is the better sign that is the right vocation. But to arrive to understand and to live completely this way of the life means a path, to walk in a path and to understand slowly, to leave some your egoism and to find a new way. The oblative, I think it's also an English word, no? In the oblative way of life. Yes, that means also to grow up a family. And not only grow up, but let go on the family in love.
Family as the path to holiness as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for having this conversation tonight that's in the run-up also to the World Meeting of Families, which will take place just a few meters from here at St. Peter's Square. Thank you all also for coming and for being with us. EWTN is very proud to be also the media partner of the World Meeting of Families. We will broadcast live from next week onwards, from Wednesday to Sunday, in many different languages also. Everything that will take place here at St. Peter's Square, but also in Paolo VI in the conference hall there, and we're very much looking forward to it. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Se non ci vengono a liberare.